Hello guys and girls, welcome back to Geekism. My name is John T and we're here back in Geekopolis. Let's build Planet Coaster Park. If you're new to the channel and you want to see plenty more Planet Coaster content, please don't forget to subscribe. Today we're working on a subscriber suggestion. A few people actually suggested this, a play area in our pirate area. So we're doing a pirate play area, and I wasn't really sure how to approach this, to be honest with you, when I first started off. I had a few ideas in my head, but I hadn't really got much I could reference, and I wasn't really sure how it was going to work out, but I'm pretty pleased with what we've ended up with. We start off using those anvils. It's actually something we used in the festive park that we did during the live streams over Christmas. It was one of our regular contributors Mark's suggestion of using the anvils upside down to create these awesome wooden logs. They create a very natural border to the area that you would really sort of see in parks. I think it actually works really well, looks very realistic. The park is basically a combination of lots of pieces of wood and art pieces, which we haven't really used much so far, and I'm still getting to grips with them. I originally think about having a pond in the middle, but then decide actually it'd be quite nice to make the whole flooring the water, and to have the whole park based around the ship theme. Please bear in mind that I know that the floors are purple. They are changed later on. If you don't know already, I'm colourblind. They looked blue to me. Luckily the wife came in halfway through me building this and asked me why the water was purple. So it has been fixed. Good news as well is this does fit within the 2,000 piece limit, so I can upload the whole thing nice and neatly as a Steam Workshop item, and you'll be able to drop it into your own parks if you want to, or you can pop it in and edit it, or use it as inspiration for your own sort of play area ideas. Now here I'm just moving over to try and get the height of a kid, because I realised that I was building it purely off the top of my head, and I didn't want to make something huge that didn't look right. Obviously the guests in the game can't use this yet, unfortunately. I would love to see a Playgrounds DLC in the future. I think that would be awesome, and if we ever do get that, obviously we'll come back to this area and sort of adjust it as we need to. This is unfortunately purely for show, but I think it's really nice, and it adds a lot to the sort of overall aesthetic of a park. If you can't tell, it's not a coffin we're building, it is a mini pirate ship, and we're going to build 3 of these all together, 2 smaller ones and 1 larger one, and these are going to be the areas in the playground. Now, I haven't gone traditional playground. I did do a bit of research in this. I haven't gone traditional playground. I've gone traditional play area in a theme park, if there is such a thing. One thing you'll find there isn't many of in theme park play areas are things like swings, or anything that spins too fast. I think the main reason they don't have swings is because they're very easily damaged or ruined. So I think that's probably why they don't have those. Spinning too fast, I don't know, maybe they don't want kids throwing up, I don't know. But you'll find that for the most part, play areas in theme parks are mostly climbing areas, sort of rope nets, slides back down again, and ladders up, and just areas for them to be imaginative as opposed to actual things they can play with. So that's what we've gone for here. We've gone for areas where they can pretend to be pirates, as opposed to sort of somewhere you can swing around or use a roundabout. I suppose if they want to go on rides, there's plenty of real rides nearby, as opposed to them having to use things like swings or what have you. So here we go. We start off with a red boat. We're going to do a red boat and a blue boat, and the whole area is going to be sort of based around the 2 boats fighting over some treasure that will be in the middle. And again, it's just a place where the kids could come and sort of do a bit of make-believe. Here we use one of the caravan wheels to make a ship wheel. Looks awesome. I can't believe how good it turns out, to be honest. And here I was trying to decide whether or not to do portholes using the art pieces or to use the actual porthole piece. I have a good look at it and asked the wife, and she says that one looks better, and I think I agree, although it's a bit realistic. I think it actually works better than just having some round pieces, and the round pieces don't quite translate well to a porthole that I'm trying to get them to look like. Use these fans here to give us a bit of a mast, and just adjust those out. There we go, and we have a pretty cool little ship. And we basically just copy and paste that, drag it over here, swap the stairs over there so it matches on the other side, and then recolour it blue. So we've got blue versus red. It takes me a moment to just select them all. And once we've done that, we can colour it up. There we go. And a slightly darker blue for the lighter wood there. Awesome. There's a cut here where I go and get some lunch, and that's when the wife points out that the sea was purple, not blue, so we've changed it to a nice sea blue now. And then we make the start on the sort of the big central piece of the area. It's also the back of the area as well. It's going to be a super large pirate ship that the kids can run around, and there's also a few little secrets here as well. We'll see when we get a bit further into it. Again, it's just basically making the shape that doesn't exist in the game using posts and pillars, and it's relatively easy to do. I'd recommend, if you want to do anything like this, to keep angle snap on the lowest angle, and it makes it a lot easier for you to make symmetrical shapes like we've done here. And then we begin using our art shapes. It's something that I haven't really played around with at all, to be honest, apart from occasionally using them on some main street buildings and things. So we haven't gone really out there with these. I do want to have more of a play with them, see what we can do, because I think they're probably some of the most sort of, what's the word, useful pieces in the game, probably. And if in an update we ever got the ability to scale them or to texturize them, I think they would be really, really super useful. But for now, they actually lend themselves very well to a playground area because they look very shiny, plasticky. It actually works really well here, the shiny material they are, although it does make them slightly limited in other areas, I think. So there we go, we build a boat up, and we start thinking about this place as a playground as opposed to just being something that looks nice. So things like this, you know, having areas where the kids can't fall off the edge, you know, we add in sort of safety measures, and also we take that into account when we light the place up as well. Obviously with the other areas of the park we're using a lot of ambient lighting, whereas here we go for some proper floods, you know, big fill the space with light, because, you know, if this wasn't a real park that opened late, or even just in the winter sometimes it goes dark at about 3 PM, you know, this place being a kid area would be very lit up. That's something we get onto later on. But here, yeah, with the build, it's you know, I do try and make it look like a park, you know, or a playground, whatever you want to call it, as opposed to just you know, a cool looking area in the game. Wanted to make it look like it could be a genuine part of a theme park. Sorting the floor out there was a little tricky. We ended up having to use quite a few pieces to do it. Originally going to go for a ladder, decide to change my mind in a moment. I think we're pretty sure we get rid of that. I really wanted a net up using these pieces that they just lend themselves so well to this. They work perfectly as like a rope net up, and I also wanted a slide, and I realised that the ladder kind of didn't really work with that, so we've just got a rope net up here. The idea in my head is that this is for the slightly older kids with the net up, and the other ones with just the little ladders are more for the kiddie ones. I start to make the slide out of these pieces so it actually looks like half tube. Realise that's probably going to take me about a month to do properly. Have another little look, and we find these sort of curved pieces that work really, really well, and you know, it's now an enclosed slide. And it takes a lot quicker, a lot less polygons, but also I think it looks really good. It looks just like a sort of tube slide that you would find in sort of a larger park, and it's just a case of swapping them around, slowly tearing them down so that they end up popping out at the bottom there, and then we use a straight piece at the bottom. And we do use a couple of half semicircles just to give the impression of it sort of opening back up again. Obviously we're a little bit limited with these pieces right now, but I think it turned out really nicely. We end up colouring every other one to give it a bit of a snake effect almost, and just putting it into place. And then I want a hole at the top. I forget to actually do this on the bottom as well. I need to go back and do this on the bottom using a darker colour just to make it look a little bit like there's an entrance point there. Obviously this is, like I said before, purely for show, but just try and get it looking as good as you can, even if it's just from a distance as you sort of skim past it to other areas in the park. Then we start working on the mast. We use the log here to get a big thick mast, and again we use the western flags there, all painted white, give us a nice sort of shape there for a mast, and sail is the word I couldn't think of then. So looking for the thing, I thought there was a crow's nest on its own, but there isn't. It's only attached to a mast, so I realised that I'm going to have to make my own. So I'll just pop that one there as a reference. These pieces seem to be ideal. It makes it a little large, but I actually think it looks quite good in the end because it's a relatively large ship, and also the fact that this is a little bit oversized sort of adds to the sort of kiddie stylised nature of the whole build anyway. And then we use a few little bits of detail here just to build it up. And I end up realising I put those in the wrong place. They need to be on the corners. So we spin them all around, and for some reason the centre of those wasn't the centre of the shape. Sometimes the axis in this game is a bit weird. I don't know how it... I mean, I'm sure, you know, it's figuring it out algorithmically, so occasionally it is going to be a little off, but you know, it's quite funny sometimes. You try and turn items and they start whizzing off in a different direction. So again, we're just sort of filling it out with a bit of plank here. We keep this ship relatively plain brown as opposed to painting it too much. I quite like the idea that it's sort of even though it's a park, it's a playground, it's a rusticy, you know, very well used area. A lot of kids come and play here. We use some of the sci-fi wires these are actually to sort of replicate the rigging. These are very useful pieces actually, you can do quite a lot with them. And we end up adding a flag on top. It's one of the pirate flags. It's meant to sit on a wall. And because we have it hanging, you know, some of the ropes a bit dodgy on there, sort of defying gravity, but overall I think it looks pretty good. I'm okay with it. I can live with it. There we go. It's a case of filling in some of the gaps here. We've got some little corner pieces there that we're going to fill in, and we're going to make some sort of what's the word? Suds they call it? No, foam, sort of, you know, sort of splashing up white water. Using some of these white pieces, they just sort of cap the ends off, and also again thinking about it from a playground point of view, they're very rounded. There's no sharp corners there, so the kiddies aren't going to sort of hurt themselves. Again, we have the pirate ship wheel, a little bit more detail on that one because it's a little larger, and then we start working on the entrance. Pretty simple entrance, basically just wanted an archway. Before we do that, we've got a big space in the middle here. Wasn't too sure what to do, so I decided to make a little treasure island. Again, using the art pieces, make them sort of very cartoony and over the top, and with that we create a palm tree. There we go. And the last thing we had there is the golden treasure chest, which it's really sort of stylized, and I'm not too sure it's going to work in many other places in this area. So I thought if I get it in there, it kind of fits. You know, a big gold, shiny gold thing. You know, it fits quite well in a kiddies stylized area. What do we do now? Oh, we use this. Love this piece, this sort of pirate fence. A really great looking bit of kit. We're going to be using this a lot in this area, I'm sure. We'd love some more fences in the game, but for now the ones that are there are really, really good. There's a really nice sci-fi fence, and this thing is lovely. So we just run that all down the side and into the back there to cover it all up. Again, it's got to be safety first. The area's got to be completely cornered off around the back there. We don't want no kids running into the bushes here and running off down into the back of the park. So yeah, we use those pirate fences to keep them in. Bit of foliage around there, nothing too major. We're going to be using a lot of these different palms in the pirate area. In fact, I'm going to try and keep it as the only plants we use. I really like the idea of using different foliage in each area to really help sort of separate the areas as well. What do we do here? I think we use the larger posts again. Yes, we do, yeah. These are really nice pieces. They're actually western, and we didn't really use them much in the western areas, to be honest, but I think they're going to be very useful in the pirate area, and probably other areas as well. Again, just one of those pieces that I could probably find a lot of uses for. We use the pirate shop there, but we colour it to be a lot brighter, red and white. And then we use some of the... I'm considering that, but I think actually we'll probably use the Pirate Village, the big sign there, as an area later on when we do some of the kiddie rides themselves, like the Whirligig and the Rocktopus, which are the two sort of... Although Rocktopus isn't really a kiddie ride, it's you know, very sort of colourful and stylised. Although it fits the pirate theme, it's not quite as subdued as, you know, the pirate ship or the track rides we're going to build ourselves. The last little bit I do, I mean, I don't really know what these are called, but I always used to see them in playgrounds, and they were basically squares on a pole that would spin round, and they would have different patterns on them, or you could maybe play tic-tac-toe on them, or noughts and crosses, or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, I felt like the larger ship at the top needed a little something, so I thought this might just be a good way of sort of creating something that you would find in an actual park. I think it turns out pretty well, and personally I think it's obvious what it is. I don't know, I told you now, but maybe you tell me as to whether you think it would have been obvious as to what I was building there. We place it up at the back there so the kids can have a play on top of the pirate ship. Next then is some lighting. Again, like I said, we normally go for very ambient lighting, but here, safety first for the kids, we need a lot of floodlights, so we create two large pillars there pointing down, two large lights even on the pillar pointing down, and the same on the other side, just to give it a really big wash of white light. But then we do go in and place some ambient lighting as well. Realise that I've not covered that up. That should really be covered up. Safety first and all that. There we go. And yeah, we do place some ambient lighting, and around the back as well, some nice green lighting coming out from the trees. Looks really good from the front. And that's about it. Oh, a couple more at the front here, yeah. Just a few little lamps, just to sort of lighten up the entrance. And up the top, we place some of these awesome fairy lights. Again, it's the sort of thing I would imagine in a park you would have these lit up. We've even put the very few top ones flashing there, so you can see it from miles around where the park is at night time. So there we go. A nice little kiddies park. If you look at the whole area, it's actually quite small, and we may end up going back and making it a little larger. I think we need to now work on some of the larger parts of this area, maybe the log flume and the coaster, and kind of see what space we've got left before we carry on working on little sort of accent pieces like this. So I've kept it relatively small for that reason. We may go back and make it a little larger in the future. And finally, because you guys seem to like it when I do it, we have a overview at the end. You can see it there on the left. It doesn't take up much space at all. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give us a like. It really does help out the channel. And if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.